Very happy to hear that we have Boss E Geo in the chat. Boss E Geo, you got a copy there, buddy?
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, the first ARCS playoffs. You are definitely involved. Got you a stage 2 win, I believe, towards the middle of that race. Those don't mean anything as far as points, but definitely a morale booster. You're definitely one of those drivers that we look to try to win this whole thing. What do you think you got for him at Mid Ohio?
Oh, boy. Mid Ohio, I'm just looking to survive and just try to finish at least, I would say, in the top 4, if not top 3 there. Just try to get some points at the end of this because this is one of my weaker tracks. So I just need to survive this track and then I should be fine for the other 2. But this will be my biggest opponent for tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. We're looking forward to seeing you race the rest of this series.
What happened on that restart, starting that last stage?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I got a phone call there. I was trying to answer it. Yeah, that pretty much messed up that whole restart there. But yeah,
I was kind of praising you, and I was hoping you were gonna chase Crotum down there. And after that stage win, I'm like, oh, okay. And then that happened. I'm like, oh, something had to happen that he wasn't happy with there.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I just wasn't paying attention, and I was more into the call than the actual restart there. So
Because you know what? And actors, they got good actors.
oh my god. But oh well. On to the next one.
Well, good luck to you on this Mid Ohio race. I know you said that it wasn't necessarily the track that you're looking forward to out of all these, but be patient. Good things could come, man.
Oh, no doubt. I appreciate it, buddy.
All right, have a good race, man.
Yeah.
The race about to start. We will let Boss get back to the group. We're going to take one more quick break here. And we will be right back for the second of 2 races tonight. Mid Ohio, it's going to be a 25% race, no stages. So with no issues, we might go caution free here. And so we're going to check out the ending of this race. Stay tuned, folks. About to go green here, the 20 with a really nice win there at Iowa. The 2 going to have the fastest lap at Iowa. COT Tommy going to start on the inside here for this first turn. Is able to keep both left tires on that apron, but he gets off into the grass. The 20 and the 88 now. They're going to be in control of this field as they get to go around this really sharp right-hander. This is a really tricky corner for these cars to be able to stay fast and not get loose, especially on really cold tires, Alex.
The thing about that the keyhole, as they call it, is it is very sharp right-hander, and especially on cold tires. You got to be careful on how you enter it. You can't be going too fast or you're going to push right into that grass. Seems like everyone got through it, though, just fine. And now we'll see what the rest of the track holds.
Battle for third place already starting to heat up. The 22 of Boss Gio, who was not very confident going into this race. Now trying to fend off the 18 of Twisted. The 22's into the grass. The 88 way off into the grass. And this is going to be bad news for the field. The 20 car, Rodham, definitely a road course ringer. No doubt about that. This is his playground. These guys are here just playing at it, Alex. And the 20's off to a really nice start here.
Yeah, you can see how he's just ripping through this track like it's nothing. And everyone else is just trying to just keep it on track. And again, honestly, this a lot of it's going to come down to patience. I know it from experience. Just if you overthink anything, especially on a track that you're not comfortable with, you're going to do worse. These guys should just try to relax, settle into a groove. You never know what can happen. I mean, Crota might be fast, but all it takes is one mess up, and he hits the dirt, and he goes sideways and hits the wall, hits the tire barrier. Anything can happen.
I'll follow along here a little with a lap. They're like big giant right-hand turns and a big giant left-hand turn, and that is this set of turns right here can be really tricky, especially in a stock car, Alex, because you get that car unsettled going to the right, and then you kind of like turn that car too sharply to the left, and the car will spin out right now.
Absolutely. The thing about Mid-Ohio, there are a lot of blind corners, elevation changes, and everything else. So you kind of have to be thinking about what's coming over that hill before it's there. You need to set up for it, because if you're just a little too hot, that car's not going to settle. You're going to lose the back end of it. It's going to go around on you. So you just need to be patient at a track like this.
20 car going to try to stay to the very left-hand corner and gas out of that turn. Coming into what Alex told us was the keyhole. All this stuff is news to me. I don't even try to count the corners at road courses. I just go around the turns. But the 20 doing a great job. And this is going to be a really long straightaway here for the 20 with a really hard brake and hard to the right. This could be really tricky as well right here. Ooh, off into the grass.
And see, that's what I mean right there. And then coming through this next section here, you notice that you don't see anything, and then it's there. And then as you keep going through this little infield section, if you will, there's a lot of it. This is a fast corner here too. You don't see where the apex of the next turn is until you're at the top of that crest of the hill. So like I said, it's a tricky track. You need to have it down in your memory, and you need to hit your marks every lap, or you could end up in the dirt like we saw Credum get into. But luckily, with that gap that he's got on second, it wasn't too much of a worry for him, and he's back to doing his thing.
Some of these TNT guys with a lot of experience here at Mid-Ohio had to battle it out against another team here about a year ago, and so this track definitely no stranger to most of these drivers, but still you see the 88 trying desperately to get around that corner, and he's hard off into the grass. You know, Alex, with these road courses, it's all about setting up these corners, and if you hit that apex too shallow, you're going to be way off into the grass. If you hit it too late, you might not hit it at all.
Correct. I mean, road course racing, I mean, don't get me wrong, ovals, you still have the same thing. You've got your marks you need to hit. You've got a little bit more leeway, though, at an oval. If you make a mistake, you can tap the brakes. You can slow it down a little bit and maybe not get in the wall. You might lose a little bit of time, but nothing drastic. You go to a road course, though, you almost need to be perfect the whole way through. And really, road course racing is consistency.
20 trying to be the most consistent driver in the field. It looks like so far he is riding around with the 19 of Lurkin Tom Gaming. He's way off into the grass, almost into the sand, is able to keep it out. The 22 of Bossy Gio, he gets loose coming out of that corner. Man, one of the things when I drive Mid-Ohio, and this is kind of one of those tracks that we can kind of just talk about for days. But one of the problems I always have with Mid-Ohio is a lot of these turns, they're going uphill over over kind of a hill and back downhill as you're turning. And as that car goes back downhill, it loses all the weight on the car, and it just seems like you just have no control over it there. You're just kind of riding around.
Absolutely. You know, I mean, for me, with running IndyCar at this track, I'm used to other, and it's the same with Cup. You're used to what the car does. And then you get to a track like this with all the elevation changes and the blind corners, and when you hit that apex, you're used to what you know the car can do, but you're not used to that elevation change. And as soon as you get on the power, with the back end being so light because of that change and the shift, it just goes right around, and next thing you know, you're spinning and looking up going, what did I just do?
Trying to see if we can figure out who is in second place here in this race. Points being definitely a big deal. We're going to take you to the field, try to give you a view that's not going to give you nausea. The 20 now crossing the finish line, coming into that hard left-hander for turn 1. He has exited the 22 now of Boss E-Geo. He's away. Just trying to figure out who is in second place. Want to try to give the fans the most information that they possibly can have, but these drivers already really spread out. We see the 18 and the 19 now just coming into turn 1, Alex.
Yeah, and again, this is all about consistency, and thus far, who's been the most consistent in this race? Crotum has definitely shown what he can do on a road course here.
The 9 continues with the network issues that he's been plagued with all evening long. Sometimes it seems like it comes and goes with the 9 tonight. It has definitely come to bite him. This is not one of those series that he wants to have that issue. This is definitely a points season, if you will, but it's only 4 races with a bunch of different type of tracks. And so really excited to bring the fans the last races that we're going to have. We're definitely going to give you a schedule and how you can watch that next time. Just 2 more races will remain in this schedule. Right now, though, Crotum, the one that came in as the odds-on favorite, we interviewed him at the beginning of this race, or of the last race, say that he'd be the favorite to win. It looks like he is in his element, and he's doing a great job.
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, I mean, he's, other than that one hiccup we saw, he's been hitting his marks. He's just cruising around this place like a Sunday drive at this point. You know, so don't get me wrong, road course racing is not easy. I understand that. I know that, but when you're in it, you're in it, and that it helps a lot just to be confident in what you can do, and just keep cranking away the laps.
Give the fans an update. Next Thursday night, we will crown an ARCS champion. Crotum has been in his element tonight, but we're going to look to try to take him out of his element. We're going to run Kentucky, and then we're going to run Daytona, and that's going, I mean, that's just going to be one of those races that you're going to have to really be consistent, but you're going to have to make sure that everybody else around you doesn't mess up as well.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you go to a play track, you need to do well, but you almost have to watch everybody around you and use everybody around you to win that race. You can't depend on yourself, and obviously there's no teams here. It's 8 guys going for it. So I would be surprised not to see maybe a couple guys next week look at the points and go, all right, listen, let's work together. Maybe we'll see some of the A Squared and TNT guys. Maybe they'll split off, even though technically they're not teams, and try to work together for that if it comes down to a points battle.
The 20 trying to make sure that Daytona is not a thing that he has to deal with. He continues to be dominant, and right now, without a major mistake, we don't see anybody around the 20. He is definitely pulled away from the field. Doing a great job here, trying to look shout out to COT Tommy for giving me his lap streamer. We see the 20. He's crossing the finish line. The second place car just now coming into the S's. And so, yeah, it looks like the 88 of E-Dog. He's looking strong here. It looks like he's running in second place. And this probably, E-Dog is not one of those drivers that would consider himself a road racer. We see as we talk about him, way off into the grass, gets really loose, is able to save it there, Alex. There's nobody around him, so that's not going to hurt him too bad. We see the battle for third way back there. Yeah, 19 and the 18 battling for third here at Mid-Ohio. The 18 gives the 19 a little bit of a shove. That's going to send the 19 outside at the end of this corner. It should give the 18 a nice side-by-side run here, Alex.
Yeah, but coming up to this next turn, this is a fast but a slow right-hander. You need to hit your marks perfectly, and then we get the elevation change to the next couple of turns. So this actually might be a fun thing to see what's going to happen here. You know they're chasing each other down here.
Got to be really careful coming out of that corner. The car would just get loose and spin out. The 18 and the 19 both do a really good job. The 19 a little bit better job. He starts to gain some ground on the 18. Now we will hope that he can gain that ground back on the 19 for third place. Alex, I want to give a shout out to Rick James and Rick James TV1. He is hosting the stream. Appreciate you, Rick. Want to invite the fans to this ARCS playoff race as we see green flag pit stops starting to come. The 19 and the 18 go down pit road. We will see where the 20 is at on the field. He's already down pit road, and so is the 88, Alex.
Yeah, and actually I was kind of starting to wonder where we were going to see a stop here, since we're not doing any stages for this race. And obviously cautions with the field being so spread out, you don't think you're really going to see anything, obviously. So green flag stops are always fun. You don't want to get any errors getting in and out of pit lane, and now you're on cold tires. So if you're Crotum, you need to just keep it nice and easy. Don't overthink it here. Get the tires up to temp. This is your race. For the other guys, they're hoping he does make a mistake, and they just need to make sure to hit their marks. I mean, again, it's a consistency race, and so far it's been fun to watch.
The 20 still making his dominant performance. The 88 now looks like he's going to be in a battle here for second place with the 22 of Boss EGO. Not quite sure what happened with the 88, but they're making contact now here, trying to get through this track. These guys definitely some clean drivers, but being clean and attempting to try to pass a driver clean is really good in theory, not necessarily great in practice, especially at a track like Mid-Ohio.
Not only that, but with only 4 races, for the playoffs here, points matter. So you're looking. E-Dog has been running in second pretty much this whole race, and we talked to Boss before the race started, and he was dreading this, hoping for a top 4, maybe a podium. And now he's at that podium, and he was sitting right there at E-Dog, and maybe he got a little too aggressive. Should have been a little bit more patient. Might have been able to get that pass off.
Looks like things are starting to tighten up. The 9 can see the 88, and maybe the rest of the field here as we see the 19 is going to go around this the keyhole, as Alex has educated us on. As you see the 2, he's going to come down pit road and get service. We look to see that 22. He's going to come out. No lag out issues there, but the 20 continuing to be dominant. Very few laps remaining in this race. We know these road courses, with the way that most race series break it up for mileage, most of these road courses, there's not a lot of opportunities for times across the start-finish line to make the passes that you need to pass, Alex.
And again, I've raced Mid-Ohio multiple times, and there's good places to get around this track and good places to mess up, but I mean, as far as it goes, I mean, again, Crotum, just look at him. I mean, he's run away with this whole race.
No cars here in a real battle for position, just trying to hit their marks. We see the 19 of Working Tom Gaming. He's going to cross the start-finish line. The 2 of COT Tommy, really slow and in the grass. It seems that he had a hard time. We talked about that earlier. The 2 coming out of that really long stretch. You could get the car all the way into 4th gear at full song, and then that right-hander can be really tricky because it doesn't seem like it's as tight as it is, but you really got to get that car slowed down to get around it.
Yeah, like I said, it's all about hitting your marks, and especially that turn there. You know, it's just, if you don't hit your marks, if you're going just a little bit too fast, there's nothing you can do. If you're going too fast, it's not going to turn.
Of Crotum continues his dominance here tonight. 10 laps remaining in this race, but that's a lot of time. This is not 10 laps at Iowa. This is 10 laps at Mid-Ohio. These drivers are running really long lap times compared to what you see at a 1.5 miles, or especially a short track, kind of like we just run. And so it's still a lot of time. The 20 just now putting a lap on COT Tommy, who is not having a good Mid-Ohio race. We talk about, like I said, 10 laps remaining in this race. We've only ran 12 laps here at Mid-Ohio, so still almost half the race remaining, Alex.
Yeah, and that's the big difference from going from Iowa, where we saw our first race tonight, to this. You know, it's night and day difference, and you know, obviously there's a little bit more finesse, and you see Crotum again doing what he's doing, but I feel like the rest of the field here is figuring it out. They're doing a lot better, but can anybody catch Crotum? Is Crotum going to make a mistake? 10 laps. All it takes is 2 mistakes from Crotum, and is E-Dog still in second right now? Oh, he could be right there. I mean, you just never know with 10 laps left at a road course.
Battle for 4th starting to heat up. The 18 of Twisted Navy and the 9 of Seth Dub 9 running through this racetrack. The 18 of Twisted, definitely one of those drivers that we look to see up front at all of the restrictor plate tracks. He is looking forward, Alex, to Daytona, but you got to get there. We just ran Iowa. The 18 did not do well. We're running Mid-Ohio. And he's in 5th place, which is good, but there's only 8 drivers. And so what do you do if you're Twisted when you're just trying to get through this race to get to the next one, because you know you're going to be a lot better next week?
Well, I mean, if you're Twisted at this point, run your race, stay consistent. After that, you go to next week. Again, we got Daytona as one of them at a plate track. Anything is possible there. So who knows what could happen. So for him right now, do what you can do, stay consistent, don't lose the position, get what points you can out of today, take it with what you got, go into next week being hopeful.
Want to get to some comments in the chat. Simco Racing, Alex says, what's with this IndyCar guy commentating? And then Rick James TV1 wanted you to know Stitch sounds so good. I concur, Stitch. I've had a lot of fun with you in the booth. Maybe you can join me next week and we can kind of do this whole series together. It's pretty awesome to have you up here with you, buddy.
You know what? I'm down. This is the first time that I've broadcast ever. And obviously most people out there might not know me, but the guys in the Discord here do. I'm not a NASCAR guy, but then I found these group of friends, and here we are. So I'm definitely having fun. It's a different experience for me. I'll be a little bit more prepared for next week, maybe.
Also, John Fry Dog, as we call him, in the chat. Appreciate you, buddy. Thank you guys for watching with us so far. If you missed it, the 20 car has been absolutely dominant. He won Iowa which was a big win for him because he's going to come here to Mid-Ohio, and this is, like we said earlier, the 20, definitely a road course ringer. Alex, I've had the opportunity to race with all of these drivers on the track all season long as we see the 20 try to put a lap on the 22 of Boss EGO. Every one of these drivers are drivers that I absolutely respect. And when I'm on the field or on the track with these guys, I know that I got to approach with caution because you don't want to be that guy that messes up one of these guys, especially because they're so fast.
Oh, no, you never want to be that guy. I've both been that guy and I've been the guy that has taken that brunt. And it's one thing during the season, if something happens, you can shrug it off. In a 4-race playoff, it's a different story. You don't want to do that. You know, you don't want to take the leader out. And again, it goes back to the fact of, hey, listen, road course, Mid-Ohio, not my track. Get the points you can. What happened at Iowa happened. You still got 2 races left. Anything can happen next week. You have no idea.
Still a lot of racing left to go here in this playoff race. The leader will cross the line with 6 laps remaining. We now follow along with the 88 of E-Dog. Like we said, the only winless driver in the group. Alex, how tough is it? We know that way back in the day, I believe the late, great Dale Earnhardt won a championship without winning a race. But definitely not something that we usually see in this day and age. But it's a shout out definitely to consistency and always being up front, even if you're not getting the win.
And that's exactly what it goes to. It's race in, race out. You have to be consistent. Yes, wins feel great. They get you more points. But podiums do just as well. And if you follow current racing, regardless of what the series is, you can see there's guys that haven't gotten a win, that they're up there in contention to get the championship still. I personally, even right here in ARCS, in the iRacing Truck Series, I ran the first race, won it. I ended up winning the championship. I didn't win a race after that. And I was sweating towards the end of the series because I didn't know what was going to happen. I couldn't get a win to save my life, but I was consistent. I was up towards the front. Ended up still getting the points championship. So really, it doesn't matter. If you can just be consistent, all it takes is the guy that normally dominates, like we're looking at Crotum. If he has a bad week next week, that takes him out of it completely. And somebody that's sitting in 2nd, 3rd, 4th right now at this race in Mid-Ohio could potentially be the champion. I mean, you have no idea. That's the beautiful thing about racing.
Continue this race, just a very few laps that are remaining in this race here at Mid-Ohio as we see the 2 of COT Tommy. He's going to cross the stripe 1 lap down the 20 of Crotum. He doesn't care that there's not a lot of drivers in the field. He is going to pull away nonetheless. The 20 trying to get under braking. You can see that car get a little bit sideways. NASCAR Heat 5 likes to let the driver know that he is using the brake. Sometimes that car will lock up, and it's a little bit different. Stitch, I know you're from the iRacing side, and so like on iRacing, when you see that tire lock up, you can see the smoke behind you, and you just can't turn. Sometimes in NASCAR Heat 5, a lot of times, especially when you're trying to turn under braking, when you smash that brake in, because you really got to smash that brake in, that car will just turn on you. We see the 20. He's going to come down pit road.
Pit stop.
This could be huge. We know the 2 of COT Tommy. He's one that likes to use strategy. We also know that the 22 of Boss EGO, he likes to use strategy as well. I believe that he was 1 lap down, and so he's going to pass the 20 on pit road and get that lap back. So we continue to look. I believe the 88 of E-Dog still runs 2nd. This could be big if he was saving enough fuel out.
Oh, absolutely. I just wonder if there is enough saving to make it to the end on only 1 stop, and now we see E-Dog is coming in as well. So that answers that question. So Everyone's got to make one more stop. But here's another thing, though. Now we've got cold tires. Brings back to the fact that anything can happen. Cold tires, if I've done it before as well. You've probably done it as well. You get into a rhythm, then you come in, you get fresh tires. You're so stuck to that rhythm that you forget, hey, my tires aren't the same as what they were. You end up overdriving or underdriving the car, costing you time.
Constant changes in these racetracks, and I know what you mean, Alex, when you're driving, and me and you, we've got an endurance race under our belts, and maybe here shortly we'll run another one, and that'll be a lot of fun. But definitely sometimes the car can change, and you don't even realize the car has changed until you start to really use that car. Maybe you're under a heavy braking, or maybe you're really trying to get that run off the corner. You start to use that car, and the car's like, oh no, I can't do that anymore.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, between the car, the track, I mean, so many things can change. Weather can change. I mean, anything's possible in racing. And the thing is, you need to adapt, like, literally in an instant, and as long as you can adapt, you'll be successful. But again, sometimes you forget about it. Sometimes, again, you like with Crotum here, he's got a drastic lead over second place right now. But all it takes is one mess up. If he were to overdrive the keyhole here and put it in the wall, we don't want to see him do that now, but if that happened, I mean, that could change the race. And it could just be getting out of your element for a second, overthinking something, thinking about something else, as we heard from Boss before this race, where he got a phone call, and that's why he had an issue with that restart. I mean, anything can happen here.
He dug a good finish at Iowa, not the win, but a good finish nonetheless. And now looks like he is going to look to take second place here at Mid-Ohio. He's not getting the wins. Crotum is getting the wins. This could be big when we move into Kentucky and Daytona. The 88, one of those drivers, man. Me and him have gone round and round the block before, almost as a lot of the other Xbox drivers. They like to say that it was a pretty good rivalry. I'm still waiting for the 88 to pay me back for some things. Right now, he'd like to pay me back by calling himself a champion. And if you finish second here with a good finish at Iowa, even though Crotum has won both races, that could put you in really good position when we come to Kentucky and Daytona.
Well, absolutely. And obviously we're speaking ahead of ourselves, but if Crotum does finish this race out and win, he gets 2 wins tonight. That's going to drastically help him with the points for the playoffs here with only 2 races left. At that point, if we're any of these other drivers, we need to be looking at it and going, all right, we can't let Crotum win if we want a chance. If anybody else wants a chance, we need to be ahead of Crotum on that first race next week. Because if Crotum goes in next week and wins that first race, it's going to be a long climb to try to even get close to him.
So let's talk about Crotum. You win Iowa, and let's say you win Mid-Ohio. Now we go into Kentucky. Turn 1 of Kentucky, and you're Crotum. How do you think the rest of the field is going to drive you?
I would probably be looking in my mirrors a little bit. I'm not saying that somebody wants to do a bump and run first lap, but it's the playoffs. You don't know. I mean, we'll see what breaks down here after this race is done and where our points are for the first half of this playoff series. But if you're Crotum, I mean, if you win the first 2 races, you want to go out and win that first race next week. That pretty much will all but seal you taking the championship. So that means if you're anyone other than Crotum next week, you want to win that race. You need to make sure he's not doing it. So again, like I said earlier, we might see A Squared and TNT guys maybe team up next week a little bit and try to do something here for the points. Maybe try to help their side of the leader in points get to that first place position. It's up to them. Who knows? I mean, I kind of hope for it. I'd like to see maybe a little drama, a little excitement next week. I don't know about you.
And that's the race, folks. The 20 of Crotum going to win both races. The 88 of Edel going to come in second here. The 19 of Lurkin with a third place finish. The 18 of Twisted Navy, who we talked about, kind of was just trying to get through the race. Gets a fourth place finish out of that. No such luck for the 9, the 22, and the 2 of COT Tommy, who we're seeing right now. He is going to finish last here at Mid-Ohio. Unfortunate for him, but great for the 20 of Crotum. He's been really dominant this year. He continues to be dominant through these playoffs, Alex.
Absolutely. And you know what? With the Mid-Ohio race here, consistency and, you know, flipping through the field and watching everybody, Crotum was hands down the most consistent guy tonight, and it shows. You know, so congrats to him. Good win. And again, we'll see what happens next week with those 2 races to finish off this playoff series, and hopefully, you know, Crotum, if you're him, you wanna do well. But for everybody else, you're shooting for Crotum.
Well, and that's it, folks. That is going to be the end of the first round, I guess you might call it, of the ARC's playoff races. Next week, Thursday night, we are going to be running Kentucky and Daytona, so you don't want to miss out on that. Don't forget, Tuesday night, you can catch the points for this race. We know that Crotum is probably going to be the leader in points going into the second set, but don't forget Tuesday night, Green White Checkered podcast. You can see that on ARC's Racing Network. This Sunday, A Squared Racing is going to be live from Atlanta, I believe. And so you do not want to miss that as well. ARC's Racing Network's twitch.tv. Make sure you can check us out on YouTube and on Facebook. But as for me tonight, I am Deplorable Me. This has been Stitch, also known as Alex Zemkowski. This was Iowa